I'll first check on Facebook. Oh. Okay, YouTube Live, Facebook. Not getting it yet. Live. It's coming, and we are live, everybody. Good morning. Surprise, surprise, surprise. We have an ad hoc session today with very special guests from Women in Language. It's an event that's going to be going on in a few days, and I'll have the ladies talk to you about that. So we have special guests, Shannon, Kerstin, and Lindsay from Women in Languages.
So yes, we're very happy to be able to have them here with us.
And we're happy to be here with you.
Okay. Yeah, from all over the world.
Literally. So we can start with that. Tetsu and I are obviously in the Montreal area right now, but you ladies are spread out around the world and you're trying to organize this event together remotely. I don't know how you're managing the time and the everything that has to do with organizing an event. So let's start with that. How did this whole idea start?
Well, tell us about the event first. What is it about, and the history of it?
So I think really it started because one day after we'd been recording a podcast, me and Kerstin, and we had this little chat, and I mentioned that I'd had this idea for International Women's Day to bring together lots of female polyglots and language learners and people that work or do anything with language. And she said, yeah, I've had that idea too. And we spoke to Shannon, and Shannon had, I've had these thoughts as well. And so actually kind of individually, we'd all kind of had this own little idea. So when it came together, I think we were quite happy to be able to do something together, to kind of share the workload. You know, as you guys know, it's a lot to organize an event, and I think being in different parts of the world right now, it's not been too much of a problem. I don't think we've done all right.
It's actually been really nice because it allows us to cover different time zones and tackle different things based on our unique schedules. And we all have kind of different skill sets as well. So the fact that we have different backgrounds and different strengths, the three of us working together, it's allowed us to really, split the work in a way that makes sense. And it's just, you know how it is. You, Tetsu, Joe, you guys are friends. So it's always great whenever you get to come together with your friends and do something like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like each of us got to do the easy bit, you know, and that means we've worked to our strengths, which is partly because we know each other well, but partly because, like Shannon says, we can spread the globe, and our speakers are across the globe too. So again, it serves us in that sense.
Wow, tell us a little bit about your speakers. Of course, they're all women.
they're all women, but that's the only thing that's all women about the conference. Like when it comes to attendees, when it comes to how we want there to be a wide variety of women and men, or people that consider themselves otherwise, and so it's the speakers, a full panel of women. We kind of discussed, we had this huge list, and we were like, okay, well, we need to focus in a little bit. What do we want to have people talk about? And so we opted for 4 key areas: starting languages, mastering languages, living with language, and working with language as well. And then kind of within that, the speakers that we'd contacted sort of came forward with their talk ideas, and we've got some really interesting topics. And I think that something that's really interesting, Kerstin, I know we were talking about this yesterday, this idea that there are some things that will be, discussed, that people are presenting on, or that we've got a couple of roundtables as well that don't always get the chance to be discussed at other events. And it's not because there's men at those events or anything like that. It's just because it never comes up. And I think naturally having an all-female lineup has brought up some topics that aren't just relevant to women, but have come forward as a result of that lineup. Does that make sense?
There's something really cool about organizing an event where automatically, because we've reached out to a different, slightly different combination of people, we haven't got as many, you know, media attention, big name polyglot people. So we don't have as many people doing the how-to polyglot thing, partly also because, like Lindsay said, we covered those 4 areas, and it really has, like I said, it's brought up, I don't know, and I've been managing our schedule a little bit and our speakers, so I've tried to encourage people as well to just kind of talk about what you're into, and we've been able to kind of have this personal touch and have people come and just really put forward about their passion. The whole point of, you know, making it a women in language event was not to be cute, really, although we're cute. It was partly because often I think women hold back in conversation. Not all of us, not all the time, but there's just this little bit, this ingrained sense of modesty that often we try to adhere to. There's this sense of deference, and then that gets intensified when you have such amazing male, you know, famous polyglots as we have. So you do hold back a little bit, or many people do. And I feel like this has given us the opportunity to just create a platform with a new twist, if that makes sense.
I think it's about representation. You know, when you see people that look like you and are like you doing stuff that you love, it gives you permission almost to do the same thing. And I think that's really important, whether it's to do with gender, whether it's to do with race or religion, you know, anything. I think it's important to have that diversity and that representation with any area, but, you know, with languages, of course, because everyone speaks languages.
Languages is a subject that touches a lot of aspects of people's lives. It's not just learning a language. It's something that we use to communicate. It's something that we use and that shares a little bit of the culture. There's a lot of elements that can be created, I guess. I mean, there's many topics that can come out of that, and it's not just about being a polyglot and learning X amount of languages and stuff like that. It's something that can touch a lot of things. I mean, like we had some things that were more the social aspect of language learning, how you can use it to help others and things of the sort. And I think you're trying to build on that a little bit and have you know, topics that are going to be more at large than just language and it's learning a language in itself. The fact that you're doing an event on women in language, which I think is a first. I don't think I've ever seen an event like that before, is really wonderful. I think there's a lot of, nowadays, I mean, there's a lot of great women. I happen to be married to one. And I think anything that gives I don't think I've ever seen the room like that in order to showcase the contribution that you can give to the community and things of the sort, and what you have to say. It gives you a forum to say what you have to say, to put out your message. I think is very good. With regards to your event, how is the format? It's just we're gonna like I'm gonna register for sure. I saw it's about a $20 fee. What is it that you have to stream on? You're going to be looking at it online. Is it going to be on the? Are we going to be able to? Do we have to only watch live, or do you watch it and you see it later if you're working at that time? Or
the event is going to be hosted on Teachable. All of the talks are going to be through Google Hangouts, but you can access everything within the Teachable website. They will be live, but if you miss them, the recordings will stay up. So you will have access to the recordings for as long as Teachable exists. So if you miss something live, you can always watch it later. The one thing with watching them live is that you can participate in the Q&A at the end of each of the talks. But that will still also be available to you after to kind of go over, watch and see the questions and discussion in the comments. So yeah, you can watch live or you can watch after the fact. All of that comes with the ticket. With the ticket, there's also a raffle. We have a lot of really amazing sponsors. I Will Teach You a Language is sponsoring, Fluent in 3 Months is sponsoring, Link is sponsoring. So we're doing a raffle, and I think we decided there'll be 3 winners. We're putting together packages of different prizes, so everyone will get something a little bit different. We'll be announcing that during the closing. And I think that's everything that comes with the ticket. Oh, there's a couple of bonuses too. Some of the speakers have also offered mini courses, mini books, and other fun items like that you also get as a part of the ticket. The tickets are $29.
Well, while we're on that,
Okay.
Joey, how about we offer 2 tickets from LangFest? Put that into the raffle.
How about you do?
Well, there you go.
That's amazing.
On the
I'll
spot.
be in touch with you later.
Thank you.
I mean, we want to, we want to help. As we've mentioned over LangFest last year, we brought in the organizers from the other events. And now there's a few other events coming up, popping up online. And I think this is all, we're all together in it, and we all support each other. And, it's a growing thing. We want to spread polyglottism and while language learning, multiculturalism, we want to spread this as far and as widely as possible. And how better way to do it than to do it together.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Agreed.
Diana, Tetsu and I, last week we had, I guess, a Facebook Live, and we were talking about the fact that languages, in a sense, when you open yourself up to learning languages and learning about other cultures and stuff like that, it sort of opens you up to a new world. And I guess we all are sort of ambassadors for this new movement of embracing culture and language learning and things of the sort. So we have to help each other out. And if we can contribute in any way, well, fantastic.
I would say you already have, because I found LangFest so inspiring, and it's really the growing landscape of online and offline language events has made this possible. Without that, I think we wouldn't have come out of the gate quite as strong as we have, quite as confident as we have.
And also, LangFest last year, 2017, was the first time all 3 of us had met in person as well. So that's kind of special too.
Oh, Lindsay and Kerstin, you haven't met before?
Me and Kerstin had met, but we'd never met Shannon.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so
there you go.
My first time meeting Kerstin and Lindsay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're glad that we could put together a forum or an event in which the 3 of you could meet.
Exactly.
We crystallize this.
So are we.
This idea of working together.
Yeah, I mean, we have the anchors in Europe with Polyglot Conference and Polyglot Gathering, and then we like to think of ourselves as the anchor here in North America, and bridge the gap, right? I mean, Benny and Steve Kaufman met for the first time at our event. So some of these big meetings that across the Atlantic happens here, I think.
Yeah, well, you're plugging a gap. Watch out for women in language in actual real life.
Australasia, Asia, where's not covered? Africa, Antarctica. There we go.
Oh,
Paraguay.
How many speakers are going to be part of your event?
We have more than 25 speakers total between the panels and the individual talks.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
And it's over 3 days. It
4.
starts on Friday.
It starts on Thursday and it goes to Sunday. It's 4 days.
Okay, it starts on Thursday and finishes on Sunday, I guess.
We start on International Women's Day, which is Thursday, and that was Lindsay's original plan. That was when she proposed it. And I think she proposed the idea in December, and I almost had a heart attack thinking we can't make it happen. But here we are, starting on International Women's Day, and we end on British Mother's Day. So we did well with our dates.
British Mother's Day? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
UK
think
has.
for us it's in May or something like that.
I thought everybody was second Sunday
Most
in
of
May.
the world is in May. Yeah. I don't know why we go different.
Only places that drive on the left. I don't know.
When we go hard, we go home. What can I say?
And what
Right,
kind of
that's not the expression, is it? Oh, I'm just so uncool.
No, you're cool. You made up your own.
Yeah,
There you
exactly.
go. So what kind of topics are covered?
Ooh.
We could each name a favorite, I suppose, but although it's hard to name favorites.
It's impossible to name favorites.
Not
I'm
necessarily.
excited about
Point
crime
you
novels.
presenting?
We're excited about, oh gosh, I don't know. We could talk about the roundtables. I think that's a
Sure.
safe one because we have our roundtables are where we go a little bit more maybe into ladyhood. So we have two roundtables or two panel discussions. The first one is about whether women learn differently in terms of styles, in terms of our brains.
Oh wow.
Has anybody ever explained your skill to you as if you don't know it? Because that happens sometimes. But you know, it's not. It'll be interesting. So we'll talk about the idea of the polyglot. We've had some interesting pre-discussions about why is a much higher proportion generally of females in classroom environments in languages, but then that drops off after the classroom environment, and when it's outside classroom learning, it's not quite like that anymore. So hopefully be able to touch on that, and just that's how it feels.
My general impression of my friends, family, is that women tend to learn languages faster. But you go to these polyglot conference and LangFest, and for some reason seems to be more men than women.
Yeah, we'll try and dig into some reason.
That's what we wanted to explore. Yeah, like there seems to be more kind of public facing men.
Yeah.
Kind of, telling what they're doing, and that's kind of interesting.
I mean, you see these immigrant families come over, and it's usually the wife who's doing all the the organizing and the I don't know, public relations, I guess, of the family with kids, friends, families, and
Well, that sounds like an interesting one. When is this one going to be?
That's Friday, and then Shannon is looking after the related one, which is on Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday, the roundtable is more on the professional aspects of women in language. So we're talking careers, we're talking pay, if there's a pay gap between women who work in language and men who work in language. We're talking about how your career in language might potentially change come motherhood, how motherhood might change the way that you study languages. It might also change the way that you interact with languages, because suddenly you shift from learner or professional to teacher, and other topics like that. So anything that is kind of related to career or motherhood is what's going on in the second panel, and I'm hosting that one, and that one's Saturday.
Wow. But either way, we can see the full calendar of events, I imagine, on your site.
Yes, if you go to womeninlanguage.com. Yeah, and if you scroll down the page, you'll see the entire lineup of speakers when everything is happening.
Huge. Really excited about this. I think it's going to be fun. Very interesting topics, for sure. I want to partake in a few. If I get the chance, I'd like to see a few of them live.
Yeah, please come. I mean, if anybody's watching and you are joining us, please, if you get the chance, we've got the weekend and 2 weekdays. You can maybe cry off work. But we are covering quite a range of time zones as well, so we should be functional. We try to schedule it so that everybody, even in Australia, you don't necessarily, or even in Pacific time zones, you don't need to get out of bed.
Oh wow! How do you do that?
Because we're all over the place.
Okay, so it's not like a fixed time slot, like 8 to 5, or it's basically you have a talk and then you have
GMT. It's kind of like about, I think, 11 a.m. till around 8 p.m. GMT, right, Kerstin?
Yeah.
And so then we've managed to, make that kind of cross time zones.
We're sort of taking shifts.
Yeah.
Other days as well. And something perhaps to note is that America switches into summertime on Sunday as well.
Oh, that's right.
Europe doesn't. So overall, our schedule was created with, how many time zones did I write in it? I think 7.
There were like, yeah, there's like 2 for Eastern, 2 for Pacific.
Oh, it was so much
So
fun.
at this point in time, Lindsay is at the same time zone as us, but on Sunday she will be an hour behind.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I change, yeah.
Because you don't change, we do.
That's going to be complicated. Wow.
It's nice that today with modern technology, all of our phones and computers adjust accordingly. So we know our alarms will go off at the right times.
Exactly.
Well, so
we have a few minutes left.
Yeah.
Are there any last points you'd like to make for our viewers? Something that you'd like to mention that you haven't had the opportunity to do so yet?
One last thing that I've just remembered. Also, 10% of the profits after expenses and everything goes to Kiva, which is a charity that supports budding entrepreneurs around the world. And this is something I think we were all really keen on from the start, was to make sure that it was this, we had a kind of positive impact. So, and we noticed as well this week they're actually doing kind of a bit of a woman-themed thing going on for International Women's Day too. So hopefully we can pick which entrepreneurs we're gonna give the money to, the 10% to. And it's like, it works like a loan. So when they then pay it back, we can then pick someone else.
I think I've heard of the site. It's a very interesting story.
Yeah.
The girl that started this, she's a woman, obviously. And
obviously.
Very interesting story. If you haven't looked it up, Tetsu, you should research it. Kiva.
Yeah.
It's an organization. I think they do a lot of, I guess, permitting funding for small projects.
It helps people around the world fund education, fund rebuilding their homes, fund businesses that they're doing. And basically what happens is you can loan the money or you can donate the money to Kiva itself, but you loan the money to help these people get the resources they need to do what they're going to do. And then they pay it back. And then once you have it back, you can redonate it to someone else. So the money goes really, really far because you're able to help several people the way that the system is set up.
Wow.
And then when you decide that you're done, managing the loans and doing that, you can just donate it straight to Kiva, and then Kiva will put it where it needs to go to help these people get a good start with whatever project they're working on.
It's very nice. It's very nice.
I think originally I heard about that 4 or 5 years ago. They must be really fairly big by now, because it was a very organically, it was growing fast, and it got in a lot of support from the community from everywhere. It's a great project. So you chose a very good foundation organization to collaborate with for your event.
Shannon's idea.
I think it's great as well. Something that I heard recently about, or one of the, it's interesting because you're promoting an event with all female speakers. So what you get, some people then start putting forward their theories of, when you say men are more visible, and like we said, a lot of the famous polyglots are male. People were sort of, one theory that was put forward is, well, then men are more entrepreneurial. So in that sense, I think it's really actually fitting and cool that we've got 3 entrepreneurial females putting together an entrepreneurial event and then giving back in that sense as well, and supporting a way of funding and starting your business that is perhaps less male dominated, because it is just so much more accessible.
So you guys you ladies are definitely very good role models for anybody that would want to get into the language learning, sort of make a living from languages in a sense. So
thank you.
So there's a lot of work that goes into this. It's not an easy thing to make a living in languages. So
and in a
one,
visible way.
you're women. 2, you're entrepreneurs. 3, you're trying to make a living in an area where it's perhaps not as easy as in other areas. So I guess it's a good it's a good thing that you're creating this, because it will create a lot of new people that are going to be coming after you.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, it
hope to see
ripples
this.
so much.
Hope to see this event grow. You guys thinking about every year, every 6 months, or
We've
we'll
got a
start with this
meeting
one?
next week or the week after.
Okay. All
We
right.
can,
So
like, come down and be like, okay.
We need to get through the first one first.
okay. So we have a few minutes. How about each one of you give a final comment, final message about your event, and we can call it a wrap.
Okay. Shall I go first? Yeah. Okay. So it's so far, it's been a real honor to work with Kerstin and with Shannon on this event so far, and to see the incredibly overwhelmingly positive reaction that we've seen, that I think we can all agree has been unexpected. You know, we set our targets and they now seem like they were really low. Even at the time, if they were really ambitious, you know, now we're like, oh, okay, we could have been more ambitious there. So it's just been an honor so far, and I can't wait for the event. Hopefully we'll see you there. womeninlanguage.com.
I have to second what Lindsay said. It's just been amazing getting to work with Kerstin and Lindsay and to put this event together. And again, to see the response and the reactions, it's just been so encouraging. And then to have the support of, you know, like you guys, Joey and Tetsu. And, you know, just these events are amazing because it just brings people together from all different walks of life, all different experiences. And so to have some small part in giving some of those people the opportunity to share their experience and their voices has just been honestly amazing. So yeah, I can't wait.
Oh gosh, final thoughts. I'm so scared that it's all gonna break. But
yoga, so good.
On a more serious note, I mean, obviously, it's so exciting to be doing this, and I can only echo what the other two said. I love working with Shannon and Lindsay. It genuinely has been easy, pleasant, so supportive.
Where did you guys meet again? No, I'm just kidding.
internet. No, LangFest.
I'm gonna call ourselves of the language Tinder or something now. The meeting place.
And I believe that it's shown me certainly what we can do when we work together. Not just the three organizers, but also, you know, creating this platform for other people to come out of the woodwork. We've since, I think, each of us been contacted by more people who say, hey, I would love to speak at something like this, which is also, I feel, to me, achieving the mission, one of my missions of exactly highlighting more females in this space and having more of them wanting to put themselves forward. And final note is really just to thank everyone who is coming and watching.
Almost out of time. Wow.
Almost out of time, but we have enough time to say congratulations on putting together this event. I know it's a lot of work, ladies. Tetsu and I have been through it. However, the reward is very, it's amazing when you get all these people together. You
fully
will find
backing you guys.
it will all be worthwhile. I know you've invested so many hours into this, but you're not doing it for nothing. It's something that people really, really appreciate it.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to seeing it as of Thursday.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care,
Bye.
guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.